I just want to clear up that we're not talking about cryptocurrency here. We're going to be talking about the functions within crypto, which is blockchain, and we're going to be showing blockchain through RStudio, how the blocks are actually developed and made, and how it actually works. And then we're going to do the demo using APIs to simulate the transaction. So before we get into like the code and explain the code and seeing everything, I just want to explain a couple key terms for everyone, so people from all different levels can understand what we're doing here, even though it sounds very complex. Hopefully we can break this down and it could be digestible for everyone, and hopefully everybody enjoys. Just give me 1 second here while put up some definitions for you. Okay, so these are a couple key concepts we have to go over so we could have a better understanding of what's going on. We're just going to define blockchain real quick. Blockchain is a digital ledger, that's shared through multiple computers. The transactions are secure and transparent, unlike traditional systems like we were talking about before. They're not controlled by anything. It's a public ledger. Okay, so let's talk a little about hash. A hash is a unique signature for a piece of data. It's a short code that represents the original data, and any change made in the original data will change the hash. So let's say your ledger says that you bought $500 worth of currency, and everyone else's ledger says 450. It's going to be very apparent because your hash is going to be different in that transaction from everyone else's. So that's why it's very transparent, because the ledger is there for everyone to see. That's what the hash is. The hash function it just turns data into into a unique code, and it's your digital fingerprint. And that's the hash function is a crucial part of blockchain, and this is what makes it all happen basically. And the final definition we want to go over that sounds crazy, and you're going to hear me mention like 1,000 times, is API. And what the heck is an API? Before this class, I definitely didn't know what it was. I had a bit of understanding what blockchains and cryptocurrency was, but API is something relatively new to me. And but APIs are like messengers that allow different software programs to talk to each other. So basically, with the API that I wrote, I would be able to send a client a link, and they'd be able to open up a link on their web browser and confirm the transaction, and it would read back to my console and into my code. So it sounds a little bit complicated, but we're going to see it firsthand, and I hope that really demonstrates it for you guys. I know I went over these definitions kind of quick. If you want to pause the video and really read the definitions, you can. We just want to, lay the groundwork of these concepts so you guys could really understand. And like basically, we're gonna go into the code now. I just want to let you guys know what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna go over the basic blockchain structures, simulate the transaction, and showcase how cryptographic hashing ensures data integrity. And we're going to be doing this, we're going to be demonstrating it through the API. Okay, so give me 1 second here. Let me turn this off. And okay, we're in RStudio now. Okay, so this is the actual code. Let me clear this up for us. Okay, so now we're gonna break down the code for people that do understand the code, and so they could just follow along. First, we have to load the libraries, the OpenSSL and Plumber. This one helps with the encryption. This one helps us run the API. So right now we're gonna be defining what the blockchain class is. This is the class. This is what it is gonna include. Here, we're just establishing S1 and S2 with all with these values, so we can establish how it's gonna be chained and put together. This is how it's gonna be chained. Chain list S1, S2. Okay. Okay, so this is the function to create a transaction and add it to the block. This is the function. This is what it's going to be called. This right here is it's going to calculate the hash, what we were talking about earlier. The SHA-256 is what generates the unique hash in RStudio. So that's the package or function that lets us do that. Okay, so this is the new transaction, and this is what adds the new transaction to our already established chain. This is where I constructed the confirmation message for the client. This message is going to appear in the web browser or in the API, giving you a thank you for the transaction, and gives you all the details. So this part right here, I just included to read back the same confirmation to the host, so the host can know that the client confirmed. I found that kind of important because I hadn't included this, and I would confirm and execute from the client side, API side, but I didn't have any confirmation on this side that the customer confirm the transaction, so I found it kind of important to include that. This right here is the endpoint for the API. These are the parameters that we're gonna set, and basically if they say yes, they get the message I constructed earlier with all the data points, and it's gonna be added to the blockchain. Okay, and I just added to the code here to not add it to the chain if the client said no. So now that we went over the code, we could actually run the API. And just give me 1 second here. Display. I'm gonna take this one off. Okay, so in another scenario, I would be able to send this link to my customer, and this would show up for them, and they'd be able to confirm what we're trying to show here. All right, so we're gonna try it out. Right, and this too, it showed up in a separate window, but if I wanted to, I could run it on Google Chrome and put that address up there, and this would show up as well, as long as you're on the local computer. I put the code on Replit, so if you have RStudio, just download the libraries, and this API would show up when you run the code. And if you want to play with it, you're more than welcome to do that. For the people that don't have RStudio and don't have Replit, this is what this video is for, and to show you what it does without actually having to code. So after you hit execute, it's going to give you the thank you transaction confirmed with all the details. So there we go. And let me get back to the RStudio window. Let me take the display off. Okay, so we're back in the RStudio. Just want to show you guys the message that the host gets. They get a confirmation message right here. That's the demonstration for you guys and how the API runs. I'd be able to send you the link. You go on that link from your web browser, hit confirm, and it gives you all the details. it was a lot of explaining and explaining the code beforehand. But this is how we made the demo, and it made the most sense for me. Um, Regarding why this is so important and why it matters. I got it to work, and I feel like that was the best way to demonstrate to you guys a transaction, because just looking at a code and adding blocks to the code is just it does it's not very digestible for people that don't actually code and are into RStudio. And just want to thank you for watching this video. It might have been a little dry, but hopefully someone out there enjoyed it and found it useful. Thank you for your time, guys.